Acts chapter 23. And Paul, looking intently at the Sanhedrin, said, Men, brothers, in all good conscience, I have conducted myself to God up to this day. But the high priest, Ananias, ordered those standing by him to strike him on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, God is about to strike you, you whitewashed wall. And do you sit judging me according to the law, and order me to be struck, acting against the law? And those who stood by said, Do you revile the high priest of God? And Paul said, I was not conscious, brothers, that he was a high priest, for it has been written, You shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. Now when Paul came to know that one section were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he called out in the Sanhedrin, Men, brothers, I am a Pharisee, son of a Pharisee. Concerning a hope and a resurrection of the dead, I am being called into question. And when he had spoken this, a discord arose with the Pharisees, and the crowd was divided. For Sadducees allege there not in fact to be a resurrection, nor even angel nor spirit, but Pharisees profess both. And a loud clamor arose, and the scribes of the division of the Pharisees rose up arguing vigorously, saying, We find nothing evil in this man, but if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him, we should not fight against God. And on a serious discord having arisen, the military commander, fearing in case Paul might be torn in pieces by them, ordered the soldiers to go down and to take him by force out of their presence, and to take him into the barracks. But the following night the Lord stood by him and said, Take courage, Paul, for just as you have given full testimony concerning me in Jerusalem, so must you bring witness in Rome as well. And when it was day, some of the Judahites made a conspiracy, and bound themselves under a curse, declaring to neither eat nor drink until they had murdered Paul. Now there were more than 40 making this conspiracy, who, making an approach to the senior priests and leaders, said, With a curse we have vowed ourselves to taste nothing until we have killed Paul. Now therefore, you signify to the military commander with the Sanhedrin that he bring him down to you tomorrow, as if being about to diagnose more accurately the things about him. Then, before his approach, we are ready to kill him. But when the son of Paul's sister heard of their lying in wait, he came up and went into the barracks and reported it to Paul. Then Paul called one of the centurions and said, Take this young man to the military commander, for he has something to report to him. So he took him and led him to the military commander, and he said, The prisoner Paul called me, and he asked me to lead you to this young man, having something to say to you. Then the military commander took him by the hand, and drawing him aside privately inquired, What is it that you have to report to me? And he said, The Judahites agreed to ask you that you would bring Paul down into the Sanhedrin tomorrow, as though you were about to inquire into something about him more accurately. So do not be persuaded by them, for more than 40 men among them lie in wait for him, who bound themselves under a curse, neither to eat nor drink, until they have murdered him, and now they are ready, waiting for the promise from you. So the military commander sent the young man away, and ordered, You are to utter to nobody that you have reported these things to me. And after calling for 2 of the centurions, he said, Prepare 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen, from the 3rd hour of the night, and to provide animals, so that having set Paul on, they could bring him safely to Felix the governor. He wrote a letter having this form, Claudius Lysias, to the most excellent governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Judahites, and, on his being on the point of being murdered by them, I rescued him. I had come up with the troop, and having learned that he is a Roman, and wanting to know the charge on account of which they were accusing him, I brought him down into their Sanhedrin. I found him to be accused of questions concerning their law, having no accusation worthy of death or shackles. And when it was intimated to me of a plot against the man, about to be carried out by the Judahites, I sent him to you at once, having also charged the accusers to describe in your presence the things against him. Be prospered. So the soldiers, in keeping with the orders given them, took Paul and brought him during the night to Antipatris. And the next day they left the horsemen to go with him, and returned to the barracks, who, having come into Caesarea, gave the letter to the governor, and they presented Paul to him. And when the governor had read the letter, he questioned what province he was from, and ascertaining that he was from Cilicia, he said, I will hear you fully, when your accusers have arrived as well. And he ordered him to be kept under guard in the judgment hall of Herod.